Guess I'm not going home alone tonight. Glad I rented that bus. It's Friday, so you know what that means. Let's welcome tonight's guest. Even Amish people think he's boring. Fox and Friends first co-host Todd Pyro. She's so fit that getting jacked is now called getting jilled. Host of Keeping It Real, Conversations with Jillian Michaels podcast, Jillian Michaels. He looks like an orderly who steals elderly patients' medications. Comedian Jim Florentine. And old men are lurking whenever she's twerking. New York Times bestselling author, Fox News contributor, Cat Tip. All right. Before we get to some news stories, let's do this. Yeah, door
Greg's
opens. There's
leftovers.
It's Leftovers, where I read the jokes we didn't use this week, and as always, it's my first time reading them. So if they suck, we'll send Joe Mackey to Epstein Island dressed as Little Bo Peep. I don't know. Could happen. On his Columbia University application, Democrat candidate for NYC Mayor Zohran Mamdani identified as both black and Asian. And to prove it, he bought a pit bull and then ate it. So racist. Sunday was International Kissing Day, also known in America as Hide from Rashida Tlaib Day. Hey, her mustache tickles, be honest. The TSA scrapped a rule that passengers remove their shoes to go through security, prompting one flyer to ask, "What about pants?" Next month, Jake Tapper will receive something called the Truth Seekers Award. In other news, Joy Behar just got a Playboy centerfold. Larry David is teaming up with Barack and Michelle Obama for a sketch comedy series. This will be the Obama's first attempt at comedy, if you don't count his birth certificate. 7-Eleven turned 98 today on 7-Eleven, and they gave away free Slurpees. They started this tradition in 2002, which is also the last time they cleaned their microwaves. A new chemical process could break down 90% of plastic in just 30 minutes. In a related story, guess who just went into hiding? Kathy Griffin claims the 2024 election was rigged and doesn't care if people think she's a conspiracy theorist. And speaking of conspiracy theories, many people believe that Kathy Griffin is really Carrot Top with AIDS. That's her. I didn't make that picture. Paul Simon's daughter blasted Richard Gere on social media for his plan to sell the singer's former home. "What's up her butt?" said the actor. After accounting for all of his gerbils. While discussing the 50th anniversary of his movie Jaws, Steven Spielberg lamented how the film led to an increase in shark hunting, which makes me think I should release my new film, which is called Todd Pyro. Oh, come on. You'll see that I'm right later on. Nearly 1/3 of Americans think they could pass themselves off as British. The other 2/3 go to the dentist. Bill Cosby is seeking a buyer for his Manhattan townhouse. It has an eat-in kitchen and a pass-out living room. The most expensive cheese just sold for more than $42,000. In a related story, guess who just bought 2 truckloads of crackers? Researchers say the Milky Way galaxy may be inside a huge cosmic void of empty space. They're renaming it Jasmine's brain. Thank you. A bride is getting grief for sitting all of her plus-size guests at a table labeled Weight Watchers, which made it easier for the male guests to know who would have sex with them. Come on. Homeland Security has subpoenaed Harvard to turn over data on its student admissions. The university said it's going to take a while to do the math since they stopped letting in Asians. According to a new book, Doug Emhoff was supposed to get Taylor Swift for a Kamala rally, but instead got Oprah. It's not his fault they weren't specific enough. They just said, "Get me the ugly billionaire."
I refuse to laugh at that.
Don't do it.
Taylor Swift, I love you. Let's go on record.
And finally, according to the latest FBI data, nearly half of all murders in the United States remain unsolved. "Gee, that's terrible," said one woman. That was a good batch. No writer dies today. All right, so a new poll shows that Democrats' trust with voters has plunged even further since the election. Voters perceive the party as out of touch, woke, and weak, which coincidentally are the same exact words tattooed on Tim Walz's ass. Young Dem leaders are starting to panic, who want to change their party's status quo. They believe anti-Trump sentiment has replaced a stronger economic focus, and that the pandemic-era school closures and their defense of a brain-dead candidate have eroded the voters' trust. True, when it comes to stupid policies, they're like Larry Kudlow at a Victoria's Secret. They'll have one of everything. But the only thing they don't have is fun. They're joyless, replacing humor with moralizing, optimism with envy. The Dems are now people no one wants to be around, a leper colony full of Amway salesmen. But while they ooze resentment, Trump's bringing back fun. People aren't scared to laugh anymore. And why? Well, Monty Python legend Terry Gilliam says that Trump has brought comedy back by lifting the left's constraints on freedom of speech. That's saying something when Monty Python tips its hat to you. So Trump made comedy great again. But you got to give the Dems some credit because their situation is hilarious. I mean, if the Democratic Party went away, what would happen to this show? It would be nothing but jokes about kill meat and poop. Often the same thing. So can the Dems actually change course? Or are they more set in stone than Jimmy Hoffa? The funny thing about Dems is that none of them really say what the party should stand for. So then what are they trying to change exactly? The identity politics, the class envy? Or are they going to do what they always do, simply rename their awful premises something new? It's why every 4 years you get a new iteration of socialism. They'll claim, hey, the premise isn't bad, it's just the execution. And if it's one thing socialists love, it's executions. Take a look at Canada. Government-assisted suicide is now the 5th leading cause of death, right behind boredom and maple syrup poisoning. Then there's Zoran Mamdani. He's no different than any commie before him. All right, bunch of New Yorkers in here. But he's the same old commie, which is why the media hides his extremism like it's Nicole Wallace's desk drawer gin. They avoid outlining his insane policies because they know it's the same old socialist song and dance. Because you can't change an ideology. If you could, then it's not an ideology. So what's beneath this ideology? Well, it's envy. Looking at people who do well and calling it theft. And they mask their own ambitions for power by pretending to be concerned for the oppressed, when all they want to be really is the oppressor, a punitive desire to avenge achievers. Look at the party leadership. It's full of unremarkable people that never achieved any success outside of politics. So they use politics as payback. And if they get in power, their experiments always begin in haste. And we are always the lab rats. From the border to biology, from crime to economy, they unleash bad ideas in new clothes. And when it hurts the people they claim to help, they say, be patient, change hurts. Which is why the rise of Trump was more than just a populist movement. It was a rebellion. The lab rats rising up against the evil scientists. And if you think these mad doctors can change, think again. They think you can change a dirty diaper with another dirty diaper, which is why their party stinks. All right. Todd. Greg. We all like to think that people can change. I keep hoping you'll be funny. But can Democrats actually change if the underlying premise is always going to be the same?
Even if I give them the benefit of the doubt, the studies show, and your report shows, only 30 Democrats are in that young Democrats we need to change category. There are a lot more national Democrats, and I would argue they're the ones that are still in power, and they're the ones that, while they have the power, they're ceding the message to AOC and Bernie. So these 30 can keep pissing into the wind. It's not going to change anything unless they can convince these other people. And if I'm a Republican, I love that, because 30 people are not going to change hearts and minds quickly enough for the midterms. The Republicans should lose in the midterms. They are the party in power. The party out of power always historically wins in midterms. The Democrats are pissing this away. I've used the word piss now twice. I'm sorry, Mom.
That's not 3 times, because you just referenced it, so that's 3.
You're right. I'm also bad at math. I'm not one of those Asians you referred to. Why don't I put Asians in?
I want you to clip that without referring to the joke.
Right.
So it looks like he brought it up. Oh, so what is this about Asians being good at math?
Thank you, Greg. To complete my thought, and then we move on to somebody else.
Yes.
Thank God. I forgot my point. We were talking. See? Anyway, the point is, the Democrats still haven't learned that they are losing 3 major categories: white men, Hispanics, and people who want lower taxes in the aggregate. And so what do? They basically still demonize white men. They're not lauding the legal Hispanic who's coming to the country trying to make a life for themselves. They're lauding the Maryland man, Abrego Garcia, who's basically an accused human smuggler, and they voted against the tax cuts that make all of us richer. It's a stupid strategy.
All right. Thank you, Todd.
You're welcome, Greg.
Wow. Jillian.
Thank you, audience.
I always believe that the smartest non-liberal is one who used to be a liberal. So I'm trying to focus on the mindset. Like, it's not you can't change policy if the mindset is always the same.
Well, there's a 4th group that they demonized, and it's anybody with common sense.
Yeah.
And what I find so bizarre is that now they're embracing Mamdani very cautiously.
Yeah.
And they're expanding their tent. But this is the party that labeled centrists bigots. Like, you purged your party of all the normal people, and now you want to expand to crazy town and communism.
Yes.
Like, there's just no logic to it.
They used the phrase expanding the tent to defend him saying, praising the intifada. Is it intifada or intifada?
The intifada.
Is it intifada or intifada?
It's intifada.
It's empanada.
It's empanada?
Empanada. This makes it easy.
So now you're going to hit on the Mexicans. Great, Todd.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but you know what? That was their justification for anti-Semitism.
It is so...
Big tent.
It's crazy that they would embrace this.
Yeah.
But you're seeing it more and more on the left.
Yeah.
And I hope that they lose the midterms because of this, but I'm actually not optimistic. And you're noticing that the more radical the left becomes, the more they're rewarded. That's why when Gavin Newsom... he's like, I'm going to talk to Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And then he's like, hold on, I'm the face of the resistance.
Yes.
I am anti-Trump. That's all I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to fix my state. And he shot up in the polls for them.
Yeah, he put his toe in the water and then realized he was just pissing in the wind.
Yep.
4.
All right, Jim. You're a comedian, so you claim. We have no proof of this. Were you a Monty Python fan?
Yeah.
So is it kind of like amazing to think, like, Monty Python was for a time the most offensive comedy troupe. I grew up on it. I used to watch it on PBS like once a week. I mean, they had Dismemberment. They did Life of Brian. What does it say that they like Trump, or at least the smartest one there.
Well, I think he realizes. I was just over in London. I was performing over there, and they were great.
Yeah.
And I was really
where were
nervous.
you at Speaker's Corner? Nobody from me. That's a place where the homeless hang out.
I didn't even. No, but I was really nervous because it's real liberal, that city, and the comedy and comedians get in trouble. I couldn't offend them.
Yeah.
I tried to, and they were going after everything. So I think times are changing. And he realizes, the guy from Monty Python, that Trump really came in and just said, look, it's okay to laugh at inappropriate stuff again, which is great. But I wouldn't count out the Dems, though.
Yeah.
For 2028 or even the midterms. They always sneak up on you. Look, Obama did in 2008.
Yeah.
Right? Then even Bernie in 2016 had a crazy momentum until the DNC and Hillary pushed him aside. So someone could pop up. So Republicans just don't have to,
Oh, yeah. No,
they're making little mistakes here and there. If they keep not making mistakes, I think they're going to be good, but you never know.
Republicans don't like to win, They will always give it away, but Trump's a little different. I think Trump is going to make sure that after he leaves, they're not going to blow it. I think he's going to just hand it all over to Barron. Yeah. Kat, do you think the Dems can change their messaging, or underneath it all, they still see your paycheck as their paycheck, your paycheck?
Yes, and that's very frustrating. But I do think that the trying to build a bigger tent is a good idea, especially considering what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you don't check off at least 4 identity boxes, then you don't get to have an opinion.
Yes.
It's like if you're not trans, disabled, and undocumented, then you better shut the up. Right? Your privilege is showing.
Yeah.
Why don't you sit this one out?
Yes.
They say they're the party of inclusion, but then also it's like if you posted something offensive on Snapchat when you were 14, then you should basically kill yourself and never be welcome in polite society again. I think they could create a bigger tent than that. That might be beneficial to them.
It makes me think that they say they're in a big tent and they're like the homeless. It's all boxes and tents.
That's why he's sitting over there.
In my head, it makes sense. You have to understand. They like the boxes and they're in a tent. No?
Am I rubbing off on you?
God, do I have Todd Piro-itis? I better get out of this segment. Up next, can you spot the Karen?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.